Hello, Johnson University. My name is Denzel Loughran. I'm reporting for the Royal Scribe here with Chief Kevin Nunn of the Seymour Volunteer Fire Department. He's been chief for the past 6 years and just recently resigned. So, Chief, what's some of the biggest changes that you've seen in the fire department in the past 6 years?
A complete turnover in the people who are on the roster, the membership. So people have retired, resigned. When I started, there were 72 people, and we have turned over probably 60 of those 72, and the 12 remaining, we've added 30 new people. So
That's awesome.
It's a huge upheaval in the community, and just a lot of change comes with that.
How much effort or work have you put into it personally?
The chief who was before me had said at one point in time that he put in 40 hours of work in addition to his 40 hours of work, and I totally believe that, because I could easily spend 35 to 40 hours here, either responding to calls or doing administration or writing grants or answering emails or attending meetings, and you'd end up racking up 40 to 60 hours of volunteer work in addition to your regular job. And so my wife and family, they were accustomed to that. They were used to that, and even so, or so much so that my 18-year-old and my 15-year-old want nothing to do with the fire service, because they said it just sucks the life out of you. And so
they can see that from a first-person perspective.
Yep.
So you said this is a volunteer position. Where do you work besides this?
I work for the City of Pigeon Forge Fire Department, so I'm a firefighter full-time every third day, and then the other 2 days I'm here.
Goodness, it's crazy. How long have you been doing this?
I joined this volunteer fire department in 2005. I moved here in 2005. I joined the fire department shortly after I moved here, and I took chief in the year 2012, January 2012, and I'll be exiting January 2018.
Very cool. And then, have you been you were a firefighter before that for Pigeon Forge, or did you accept Pigeon Forge after?
I was here as a volunteer for 2 years before I became a career firefighter in Pigeon Forge. Before that, I was a wildland firefighter in Colorado for 5 years, and before that, I've been a volunteer firefighter since I was 18, 19 years old. Various places and various organizations from Indiana to Colorado.
That's awesome.
So always a volunteer at some level.
Right. Having been with the fire department and the fire service for so many years, what would you say is one of the highlights of your career?
Well, I always thought that one of the highlights would be to be bringing my own kids into the fire service, and with them wanting nothing to do with the fire service, that kind of left me out on I wasn't quite sure how to take that. But the highlights are the structure fires that you save, the people that you've interacted with, the cardiac arrest that you were able to make significant difference in people's lives, and listing them all off. I just get flashbulb memories of them. The fire that you and I were on 2 years ago, and putting that, and getting that guy's house back to normal. That's amazing.
Right.
Then the cardiac arrest, the guy who fell out. We were en route to a call, and he had a cardiac arrest, and we were passing by where he was, and so we turned in, shocked him twice, brought him right back.
Goodness.
So those are the highlights of things. that I can remember. There's so much other things that have just.
It's a lot of small things that add up. Were there a lot of events like the fire department has done, like PR events that have come like since you being chief?
There's, tons of interaction that once John and I were synced up as the executive administrator and the fire chief, once we were working together, there were 2 years in my career that felt like this department couldn't be stopped. We had so much going on. The International Association of Fire Chiefs Recruitment and Retention Award in 2014. So that's that's a huge honor to be there at that conference and receiving the award. And we've had various awards of firefighters who have done great things in their career, or they're saved people, or saved property. And so all of those little public relations events, I think, they just keep building and building and building. The community expects so much of us, especially this time of year during fire prevention. I remember delivering pizzas from a fire truck.
I've done that.
Things that were so cool.
Right.
So yes.
What's next in your career? Like, what's next for you after retiring as fire chief? Are you still going to continue at Pigeon Forge?
Oh yeah, there's a lot to be done at Pigeon Forge with the magnitude of fires that happened in 2016. There's been a big shift in our city of Pigeon Forge towards more of a fire prevention aspect of wildfire. So I'm heading up that division, doing wildland fire home assessments as to, look, you really need to take care of all these leaves on top of your roof. That will really help you in the next fire.
Yeah.
Or leaves, trees growing in people's gutters, or trees going up through their decks. Just getting the word out and preparing people better for wildland fires. The building of a career to get to that point. Not leaving Seymour. I'm still going to be here as a presence. The transition to a new fire chief, helping that through, and I'll still continue to write grants for the department, because as a nonprofit, we still need to bring in all types of funding.
Well, very cool. It sounds like you've had a very long career, but at the same time a very momentous career, or a very influential career.
I'm leaving at a good time in my life. I have one kid going to college and another coming up through high school. So wanting to spend more time with them, spend more time with the wife and around the house, and just tons of things that I haven't been able to do in the last 6 years.
Fair enough. All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Denzel Loughran for the Royal Scribe.